Today is Monday, November 18th, I think. Anyway, it's been a long weekend. The Nasdaq advanced 112 points today, or 0.60%, and with 38% above the 50-day average daily volume. So we're seeing a lot of volume coming in since the election. And that, tells you that, people were being cautious, just waiting to see what was going to happen. And now that event has passed. It's been almost 2 weeks now, but we're still seeing heavy volume come in. The Nasdaq closed Friday below the 21, and typically I would get more cautious, but I left the conditions on green because I think, it just kind of threw a tantrum on Friday when, the data came in strong and Fed members were talking about maybe there won't be a rate cut or there'll be a pause in the rate cutting cycle. And the market wants the rate cuts when they want them. And so they don't want any disruption. So I left it on green and it bounced above the 21 today and closed above the 21. But you could see it was just an inside day. Friday was options expiration day. You could see that the 10 EMA is curling lower and it's rejected at the 10. Closed below the 21 now today, closed above the 21, and it's just an inside day below the 10. So it needs to rally back through. And it did this recently here. This is Halloween, where it closed below the 21, that inverted hammer candle, had an inside day, then another little shakeout. Now, this is the day before, the election. So that was a catalyst, but the market doesn't really need a big catalyst like that. It can trade up without, a major catalyst. But we obviously have one coming later this week with NVIDIA's earnings. So that's going to be a big driver of the market, at least for the Nasdaq this week. So that's going to carry the Magnificent Seven one way or the other. We'll have to wait and see. There was kind of a shaky report this morning that I'll get to in a minute around NVIDIA. But let's take a look around the indexes. I just want to point out for the Nasdaq, yeah, an inside day. It closed 2.7% above the rising 50, which is healthy. It closed 0.2% above the rising 21, which we like, but we'd really like to see it trade back through that 10. It's in a confirmed, a power trend. So it's all good for now. Things can change quickly. And I think for the Nasdaq, the big data point this week is going to be the NVIDIA earnings. All right, let's move over to SPY. SPY pretty similar to the Nasdaq. We're on Friday, it closed right at the 21, not below. And now today it closed 0.4% above it. It was up 0.41% today. So, yeah, looking healthy on the SPY as well. The Dow Jones Industrial Average a little stronger as it closed right, a tick above its 21 on Friday and a little bit below its 10, 0.1%. Really, it closed at the 10 on Friday. Now pulled back a little bit today, but still hanging around 0.2% below the 10. So very strong index. And the IWM, which has suffered because this is the index that really needs the interest rate cuts. It's got 17% of those small financial institutions in this component of the Russell 2000. So it's really going to move with rates. This index really needs lower rates. Those smaller banks will really benefit from lower interest rates. So this is a more rate sensitive index. Closed today up 0.2%, above its 21. So, as long as the indexes are above the 21, it's in an uptrend. I mean, I don't think you can argue with that. It looks healthy to me. It's just, biding its time, and we're getting into the seasonal strong area. So I'm going to remain bullish and remain, it's obviously in an uptrend, and I'm going to just remain on green for now. So anyway, um, I got to take a look at, since I mentioned them, I got to take a look at some of these Magnificent Seven today. Microsoft just consolidating in this big long base since what, June, July, okay, July 4th. So it's been a long time for Microsoft to just be kind of wallowing around below its 200. Uh, Apple, at least it's slightly above its 50, but still consolidating in a base. they're not really doing a whole lot here. Amazon tried to rally up. Well, it did rally up, but now it's pulled back to its 21. Just an inside day today, just a flat session there. Meta consolidating as well. Um, Traded below its 50, but still within this, what you'd call, I think this is just a flat base area here. Shell for flat base. Doing nothing wrong, but it's below its 50. So, looks bad, but I don't know. Meta's got the growth. This is the least expensive of these Magnificent Seven stocks in any way. Did I do Google? I think I did Google. Meta, Amazon, yeah. They're all looking pretty similar. This one has a cup with handle pattern. I was actually going to put this one on the ready list today, but I'm gonna stay away from these for a while until they start acting better, or at least until NVIDIA reports on Wednesday. Then we'll see what happens with them. All right, Tesla. This is the strongest one of these Magnificent Seven. It just pulled back to its 10. We've seen this a lot because this is kind of what the Nasdaq has done. So I'm seeing a lot of charts like this. They make new highs and they pull back to a moving average and then pop. This one popped 5.6% today. And I did mention NVIDIA. So I guess I'll start with the semiconductors now. Yeah, there was a rumor today that, I don't know, that Blackwell's running hot. This has been known. And I don't know why they made it a story today or why it became a story today. And that's why some of these cooling stocks have been doing so well, because we know that these data centers and these AI, these server racks, they use a lot of power and they run hot. And so they need cooling. The story came out today. It fell, let's see, on a 5-minute chart. It fell right at the open here. It's the old okey doke, the retail folks panicking, getting out. Oh my gosh, NVIDIA. But all it is just a little sucker's play before this earnings report, which tells me if they're pulling this kind of shenanigans, and I'm thinking that NVIDIA is going to have a really strong report and it's going to trade higher, but that's my thesis. I'm sticking to it. I like the chart action, nice little pullback. This looks healthy going into earnings. I'd rather have it pulling back than making new highs going into earnings, if that makes sense at all. Yeah, I don't want things too hot. But anyway, this does impact, the rest of the group. When NVIDIA pulls back like that, this is Broadcom still consolidating within a long base, just flat on the session. AMD announced new products today. I guess Lisa Su was saying the supercomputer, the fastest supercomputer chip, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it was up 3%. So this is just an arms race here with these companies. One of the ones that I like that just new merchandise came out this year has been acting really well, and that's ALAB, Astera Labs, and this is a partner with NVIDIA. And you can see kind of like we just saw with Tesla, where it makes a new high, pulls back to the 10, then popped. It popped 4.5% today. It doesn't look like much. 4.5% is a big move, but I need to see it continue to rally here, which leads me to I got to check the SMH because a lot of people are wondering what's the matter with this? What's the matter with this? Well, they don't go up all in straight lines. So this one's consolidating in a base. Maybe it made a bottom today here. Quite possibly. I don't pick bottoms. I don't call bottoms. I don't call tops. But it did make a bottom there of 237.39 and closed more than $4 above. And you can see at the open, the NVIDIA is a big component. So sold off in the morning and then rallied. So maybe, just maybe, that's a bottom for those semiconductor names. We'll have to wait and see. But I do like ALAB. And of course, the last one is ARM. There's a ton of these semiconductor names, but yeah, just flat on the session. So looking for that one to rebound. Marvell's another fabulous stock. Yeah, popped higher, pulled back. We've seen that a lot. You're just going to see a lot of charts that look like that because that's what the index did. But anyway, I'm going to move on. I've got to get to MicroStrategy. The after hours, they announced the secondary offering. This guy's buying a ton of Bitcoin. He bought, I don't know how much, but he bought it for last week. He sold stock and bought, I don't even know the amount. I forget. 42, I don't know. 42,000 Bitcoins. I don't know. It was like some outrageous amount, but he sold stock to buy Bitcoin, and they had a secondary offering this afternoon. But his average price for the Bitcoin was 88,000, and Bitcoin's now trading at like 92,000. He thinks it's going to 300,000 at least. And I've talked about this before. He was at a conference last week saying that the um, the golden era of Bitcoin is from 2024 to 2034, and then it'll be all mined out pretty much. So he's pressing the gas. You got to give him credit. He's going all in on Bitcoin. He thinks it's going way higher. I just want to point out, because he said this at the conference last week, that in the last 4 years, these things are, his company has been outperforming even the best performers, even when you think of NVIDIA, wow, it's been so awesome, or Tesla, it's been such a great stock, or Vistra, which is the top stock in the S&P this year. None of these stocks, even Carvana, the great Carvana, right? This Carvana is one that's been up this year, but in the last 4 years, he points out that the Bitcoin and the MicroStrategy has been outperforming. And so that's when I talk about, time frames. If you have time frames to wait for that, if you think it's going to, like he says, 300,000 Bitcoin, and he's all in on Bitcoin, probably, stands to reason to park some money there. We had this on our red list a while back when it was at 200, and it went up, and then it pulled back, and then, man, it really took off after the election here. You could see the gap higher. Last week it pulled back 2 days when he was selling stock. Today up another 13%. So this has been a tremendous growth vehicle, and it moves really, really fast. And if you want to see something even faster, you can go MSTU, which is a two times, which is MicroStrategy on steroids. It was only up 25% today. If you like that type of action, like I say, it cuts both ways. It ramps up and then it really pulls back. That'll give you a heart attack. It's a roller coaster, but this exchange traded fund just came out recently. There's been a ton of exchange traded funds coming out, which tells me the market's getting a little frothy. But anyway, MicroStrategy, big winner today, making new highs. Also, Robinhood, there you go. You get this little same type of pattern here. Makes a new high, then pulls back. This probably pulled back to the 8, and popped higher today. 8%, made a new high. So these stocks are just really, really strong. Coinbase. Another one that I like, we had on our ready list last week, I believe 283.48 was the actual standard buy point. It gapped higher on Monday, then came back. Like I say, we see a lot of stocks that look like this. Pull back to the 10, then pop 6.5% today. So those stocks I do like. That's why I'm showing them. And then IBIT is another one of these exchange traded funds you can use for Bitcoin. There's also this one pays a hefty dividend. It's a monthly dividend. I think last month it was $990 for every 100 shares, which was only 20,000. $20,000. Yeah, pays you $1,000. Not bad. And then the last one is SMLR, another one of these Bitcoin related. This one obviously same type of a profile here, where it makes a new high, pulls back. This one probably came down to its 5. It's so darn strong. Yeah, I'm going to switch over to the 5, since strong stocks will find support at the 5. Yeah, there it is. Popped today and then pulled back. Kind of strange action, huh? Yeah, ran up, and then about, I don't know, 2 hours in, it pulls back, closing near the lows, which you don't like to see. Yeah, it's 2 hours in, then pull back. So just a thinly traded stock that moves wildly with the Bitcoin or the digital currency markets. All right, I'm going to move on because Palo Alto Networks also reporting on Wednesday, the same day as NVIDIA. It's going to be overshadowed. Nobody's going to be looking at Palo Alto. I think they're going to report a good quarter. And this is the biggest stock in this group, 126 billion market cap, and it's going to drive these other stocks in the group that I'm going to get to in a minute. Now, I got to switch it back because it's not at the 5, it's below the 5. So if you will indulge me for a minute, I'm going to just switch it back. to the 10. So this thing pulls back to the 10 and it's going to squat here, right? We've seen this, like I said, a lot of stocks are doing this, making new highs and then pulling back to moving average. They report Wednesday after the bell. I think they're going to have a good report. And you want to look at the weekly chart, you can see this is a long period of consolidation here. 36 weeks. I didn't put it on our Reddit list this week because I don't want to get too risky ahead of earnings, but I did put Zscaler on, which is in this stage one base, trying to emerge. It was, I don't know, up nearly 1% today. Maybe we look at the daily here. Yeah, same type of profile where it pulls back to the 10. I think, I don't know, there's a couple buy areas here. The 203 is definitely one of interest that closed, right there. If it can get above the 208.14, after this earnings report from Palo Alto, I think we're in business there. But you just got to wait for the new data point. And then obviously the 260 area would be where Zscaler would be looking at. Before the bear market, man, this thing was really ripping. $375 stock. Yeah. So Zscaler's got a ways to go, but it's got to get out of this stage one base first. Has a lot of work to do. But I like it. And also, CrowdStrike's going to be in there with these. This is obviously another stage one base, cup with handle, moving out of that 324 buy area, just, $18 above it, not too stretched. Pull back to the 10 on Friday. Yeah, Friday was an options expiration, the monthly options, and a lot of volume and a lot of weakness on that day. And then CYBR. So another one, they reported earnings recently, and this is a strong stock, above the 10. Uh, yeah, 2.8% above the 10. So yeah, cyber is another one in this group that is looking good. And one that you got to avoid is Okta. Ugh, this chart is so ugly. I don't know what's going on there with Okta, but anyway, just got to show the good with the bad. All right, I'm going to get to the energy names. I talked earlier about the energy for the data centers, and this is the top stock in the S&P 500 this year. Had that 143 area, 143.87 buy area, so I kind of like it there. Yeah, above there, I like it. It's well above its 21 here. So this is a healthy looking name here. Yeah, it's 10% above the 21, 5.7 above the 10. So that one looks good. GEV, gosh, I really hate it when politics gets involved with your stocks, investments. This one obviously is, the anyway. I like this name. It's just flagging here above the 10. I know it was down today, big deal. Give it some time. It's had a hell of a move here, but we'll see where it goes. And you like the flag, you like to see support at the 10, but you also need to see a bounce. It's not okay just to sit there and squat at the 10. It needs to bounce. All right. And obviously GEV is the winner, one of the leading IPOs of 2024, along with ALAB and Reddit, which are new merchandise that I like. Um, But Constellation Energy is the laggard in this group now. Sliced its 50, and it's just after earnings had a real negative response to earnings and just hanging below that. Uh, Talon Energy, hanging at that 200. Once again, I would say that 197.61, 198 area, but coincides with its 10. It comes back to there. I think that's a buy. You see this little same kind of profile, little bull wedge back to the moving average. So the energy stocks look pretty good as long as you stay away from Constellation. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the software names. Got a lot of negative stuff about AppLovin this weekend. I like AppLovin. It's one of my top holds. And stocks don't go up every day. Come on. I mean, I just pointed out that the prior week it was up 77%. All right. And then last week it was only up, 0.37%, but the Nasdaq was down 3.15%. So that is showing relative strength. Well, people are saying, well, it made a higher high, but it couldn't really drive through that 300 level, and it's got more volume. Without more gains. So that is like a topping pattern, which it is. And it's also, you could say it's breaking its upper channel line. But as long as it's showing strength and as long as we get these big volume bars, these are institutional buying. And until those big bars turn pink, I'm staying with this stock. Now, obviously, if it crashes, I'm going to get rid of it. But man, I got to go toggle back to the 5 here. Seriously, sorry about this, but you know, strong stocks like AppLovin are going to find support at the 5. And this is one of the leading stocks in the software group. Now, if it crashes below the 5 and comes back to the 21, then you have decisions to make because that's right now at 225. And that's a long trip. But as long as it finds support at the 5 and keeps grinding higher, I mean, I just wanted this thing to close at 290 this week. I'd be happy with that because then it would be like a 3 weeks tight pattern and it would be actually an add-on situation. But for right now, to me, it looks healthy. Just take it one day at a time. It did try to make a new high today and couldn't. So, I mean, gosh, you're kind of asking a lot of this stock to make a new high all the time. 302.55 on Thursday. Today it went up to 302.40. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, I don't this stock moves so fast and so strong. These are the types of winners and model book type of winners that you want to have a part in, unless they show a sell sign, which this one is not, then I'm going to stick with it. GoDaddy, another really strong stock. You can see that 5 there. It's hanging near its 5, right? Yeah, it's 0.5% above the 5. So that's a super strong stock. You can see it consolidated in this cup with handle pattern broke out. GoDaddy looks fantastic to me. For FOUR, this is shift for payments. They went into one of the indexes today. Like I say, it's never a reason to buy or sell a stock. Just going into an index is just a fundamental mechanical thing, but it has that same profile that we see in a lot of stocks, and I could point them out, and probably 80% of the stocks went up, made a high, pulled back to its 21, then popped today on that news. Doesn't need news to do that, but it did. Pay, which it went higher on earnings last week, and I mean, it really went higher. Pulled back. Yeah, that was a 27% move, pulled back to its 5 and now bounced today 5%. So the 5 is being your guide for these, super strong stocks. So they might be extended from the 21 or the 10, but if they're hanging with their 5s and surfing that 5 higher, I mean, those are super strong stocks. Palantir, it went up last week on, gosh, but they're being listed on the Nasdaq, which will qualify them for the Nasdaq 100. So it spiked heavily on the options expiration date. Yeah, 11% move. Just give some back today. I mean, that's understandable. Closed right there at its 5, though. 1.7% above that 5 EMA. So another super strong stock, Palantir. I'm going to get out of the software, semiconductor, energy names and go to the medical product stocks. Stryker, this is the one that, the boomers need new hips, they need new knee replacements. This is the company that's got that equipment. And it was flat today, but it did make a new high of 398. So pressing on that 400, and that'll probably act as resistance for Stryker, but still, cup with handle breakout, super strong stock. Yeah, that buy point was 371. So it's extended from that area. Intuitive Surgical, this one closed right about at its 5 today. Yeah. It's another strong stock in the medical group. And if you just want to take a look at, this thing's just trading higher. It depends on your time frame here. Every time it pulls back a couple weeks, it gets bought and trades higher. So Intuitive Surgical is just a monster. And then the last one I wanted to point out is a thinly traded name, a thinner stock. You can see the volume here, but it's a $100 stock and it's trading above its 5, 0.9% above the 5. Broke out of that, 92 area. And yeah, looks pretty good to me. As long as, the stock's holding above its 5, that looks fantastic. So a couple of stocks in the medical product group that looks pretty good. And then the last area that I want to look at is the Oil and Gas Group, YPF. This is an integrated name. The integrated stocks that are the strongest in the oil and gas space. And this one made a new high today. This is one that Stan Druckenmiller disclosed that he has a position in YPF. Argentina stock. Some people like exposure to different countries. So this is one way to do it. This one was up nearly 8% today. It closed at what, 79% of its daily range. So that's what you want to see. That's showing a lot of power, well above the 5. This is Williams, and this one closed 2.2% above that 5. So these are strong stocks, not set up in bases. Once again, it made a move higher, right? So I want to buy it, I want to buy it, I want to buy it. Well, pull back, that's where you can buy it. Whoop, it ran higher, got away from me. I want to buy it, I want to buy it. You can buy it when it pulls back, just like 2 days, and now it's making new highs. So these you really have to be quick. Believe it or not, the oil and gas stocks are at least in the integrated space are super hot. This is EQT, and this one is same type of profile, just making a new high, wedging back to its 5 in lighter volume. You can see the volume drying up even on the Friday, the options expiration, and today popped nearly 4%. So EQT, another strong stock. I want to take a look at the weekly here. See that double bottom base. So it had this cup shape pattern and a double bottom, and then you see it has the ability to move, it make big moves, but it hasn't done anything since it topped, back in, what is this, 2022, September 2022, something like that. Yeah. So it needs to, that's a long period of consolidation. So anyway, EQT, oil and gas integrated. The group is not really strong. You can see 146 out of 197, but those three that I just showed you in that group are super strong. All right. That's it for me. Thank you for watching. Except for, in honor of the great Steve Jobs, I have one more thing. And that is earnings tonight. SYM reported. I did see that it was trading much higher. This is, I don't know, AI, robotic type things, symbiotic. What do you think? It was 27% after hours. I'll have more on this, in the morning. It's below its 200, but it looks like tomorrow it's going to blast way above it. So, if you're looking like to a standard like position, 41.76 could trade above there tomorrow. That looks great. 31.77 would be another area, but it's already trading at 38 after hours. So we'll just have to wait and see in the morning. It's got a gap in its chart here where it sold off, and then probably going to fill this gap here, the low of 35.46. And yeah, now it's 39 after hours. So something to watch for tomorrow morning. I'll have more on that. I did not read the report. I know nothing about it. TCOM, without even looking at anything, I'm going to say this group has been really strong. But I don't know what the earnings report looked like. Okay, just flat after hours. Anyway, Trip.com, these leisure travel booking stocks, you can see the groups, top 21 group. They've been really strong. It fits my boomer thesis. They're just spending their kids' inheritance. So those stocks should be doing well. BRBR, Bell Ringer, this one, Bell Ring Brands, consumer products, protein shakes, nutrition bars, flat after hours, but really super strong stock, 1.6% above its 5. And the last one is ACM. This is coming from a building heavy construction, which has been a pretty strong group. Little caution ahead of the print here as it pulls back like that. So usually, they find support and bounce here. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow. I did not hear anything from the report, but we'll have everything in the morning at mcstockcharts.com. Going to add a couple more stocks to my ready list, which I'm doing pretty well. Just hang in there. The Nasdaq's going to move with NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday, so probably a little bit of caution ahead of that. But today it got back 112 points from that brutal sell-off on Friday. It just threw a temper tantrum there. 427 points. It got 112 back, but I don't think it's going to do a whole lot until NVIDIA reports. That's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up.